Fall 2025 is not about fantasy, it's about clarity. This season cuts through the noise of fashion gimmicks and exposes what really matters, style that elevates you rather than cheapens you. The trends that are wearable this year are not chasing hype, they are rewriting what it means to look modern, respectable and powerful without trying too hard. This is the moment where fashion stops rewarding desperation. The endless cycle of exaggerated cuts, fast fashion chaos and try-hard edgy looks has already collapsed under its own weight. Nobody admires a person who looks like they got dressed straight out of an algorithm. The real style leaders now are editing their wardrobes with precision. Fall fashion in 2025 isn't about piling on, it's about subtracting everything that screams insecurity. The top trends this season are shaped by discipline. You don't need to look outrageous to stand out, you need to look untouchable. And that doesn't come from exposure or clutter, it comes from control. The person who is admired this season is not the loudest in the room, but the one with an aura of composure, elegance, and restraint. That's why the most wearable fashion now isn't flashy, it's commanding without effort. This fall also marks the end of sameness. For years, social media has trained people to look identical. Everyone in the same silhouettes, the same styling, the same predictable formulas. But in 2025, nothing looks cheaper than blending into the wearability this season means clothes that reflect identity without betraying elegance. It's not about throwing together looks to impress strangers online. It's about being remembered in real life. And here's the blunt truth. If your style doesn't demand respect, it's already outdated. Autumn 2025 doesn't tolerate lazy fashion disguised as rebellion. Trends that dominate now aren't gimmicks, they're codes of power. Fabrics, tailoring, presence. Looks that make people take you seriously the second you walk in, not outfits that make them roll their eyes at your attempt to be different. The wearable fashion trends of this fall are not there to flatter you, they're there to define you. And that is the ultimate shift. 2025 is the year where clothes aren't just decoration anymore. They're your language, your armor, your proof that elegance will always outlast chaos. Fall/winter 2025 is the season where people finally realize that wearability doesn't mean boring. It means powerful, the kind of power that lingers long after you've left the room. The top trends now are not about being showy, they're about projecting authority without begging for attention. And that's where the real shift lies. The difference between being liked and being respected. Anyone can throw on something loud and get a fleeting reaction. But in 2025, that doesn't translate to admiration. It translates to cheapness. The person who is remembered is the one who embodies discipline in the way they dress. That's what makes fashion wearable now. This autumn is also about dismantling the myth that trends need to be shocking to be relevant. In reality, the trends that are resonating most deeply are the ones that align with who people actually want to be. Calm, composed, magnetic, and untouchable. Fashion is no longer about chasing attention, it's about controlling it. The harsh truth? The days of trying to look edgy for the sake of validation are over. The outfits that leave an impression now are the ones that make you look unbothered, mysterious, and impossible to place in a box. This is why timelessness is dominating fall/winter 2025. Wearable trends this season are not a costume. They're a declaration of who you are without needing to announce it. Fall fashion has always carried layers of psychology, but this year it's stripped bare. People are tired of looking cheap, tired of dressing like clones, tired of giving away power by showing everything. What dominates now is refinement. And refinement always wins because it commands respect without asking for it. That's why autumn 2025 feels different. It's not just what you wear, it's the proof of how seriously you take yourself. And in a world where everyone is desperate to be seen, the most wearable trend is being unforgettable. Fall/winter 2025 is making one thing brutally clear. Fashion that panders to trends dies fast. Fashion that commands respect endures. What people are gravitating toward now isn't the flash, the irony, or the fake empowerment that comes from showing everything. It's the quiet, precise strength of refinement. The dominance of wearable fashion this season proves that elegance is no longer optional. It's the baseline. If your look doesn't elevate you, it diminishes you. And that's why so much of what once passed for stylish already looks cheap in today's climate. Logos everywhere, polyester disguised as luxury, vulgar cuts paraded as empowerment. None of this is wearable anymore because none of it inspires admiration. The new codes of autumn dressing are about credibility. Not how many eyes you can catch for a second, but how you are remembered after you leave. Wearability in 2025 is tied directly to respect. And the irony is that people who chase attention often end up invisible, while those who dress with discipline and mystery are the ones who leave a lasting impression. Autumn 2025 exposes the gap between costume and style. Costumes are made for a moment, but style is built to last. This is why the most wearable looks now aren't defined by a trend list, they're defined by what reinforces your presence. They're sharp, they're controlled, they're intentional, and they cut through the chaos of an industry still trying to push desperate noise. So when we talk about what to wear this fall, it's not about specific pieces, it's about mindset. Choosing clothes that don't beg for approval, outfits that don't scream insecurity, looks that make you impossible to ignore, not because of what's revealed, but because of what's left unsaid. That's the shift. That's why this season is different. And this is what GTWJ stands for. Stripping away the sugarcoating, the empty commentary, the Pinterest-level advice. Because fashion in 2025 is no longer about being trendy, it's about being untouchable. Fall-winter 2025 is a wake-up call. Style has become a dividing line between those who understand presence and those who are still trapped in the endless loop of trend chasing. The most wearable looks this season don't exist to entertain algorithms or flatter strangers. They exist to remind you and everyone watching that elegance, composure, and intelligence never lose power. This autumn strips away the sugar. It reveals that what passes for edgy is often nothing more than insecurity on display. Loud gimmicks, hypersexualized silhouettes, ironic costumes, these aren't wearable anymore because they don't add value to your identity. They turn you into decoration. And in 2025, nobody wants to be decoration. What's wearable now are the codes that communicate strength without having to prove it. It's not about shouting, it's about commanding. Real style has never been about quantity, it's about authority. And this fall, the women and men who dominate are the ones who understand that less noise means more respect. The truth is, fashion has entered a new phase of maturity. The constant reinvention, the chaos, the desperate pull for relevance, it feels juvenile compared to the confidence of wearability. Autumn-winter 2025 is telling us clearly, if what you wear doesn't sharpen you, if it doesn't leave an impression of control, then it's disposable. And that's why these wearable trends matter. They're not here to make you fit in, they're here to make you unforgettable. This season is not about being part of the crowd, it's about rising above it. And that's the energy that defines fall-winter 2025.